Today we'll talk about drilling and filtering. Basically, drilling, obviously a way to navigate, right? So, drilling into more detail, how to do it, how to get the drill down path that you want, what's the navigation area, how to use that, drill to another view. We'll touch upon that. Filtering, how do I filter on a customer? How do I filter on a product to get to, the account I want to see? How do I manage that filter? So we'll talk about some basic concepts there of filtering, which is, a big part of the product, getting, finding things, within your customer and product base can be a challenge. And so how do we make that easier? How do you understand how to filter better? And we're still letting people in. Come on in, folks. And then we'll do a demo. And gosh, I don't know if we can do Q&A today with all these people, but we'll see what we can do. The Stratum Data Hub, this is our product. Today we'll be talking about filtering and drilling, which is part of the Stratum analytic areas up here, obviously getting data out of Stratum. So, but the Data Hub shows you how you can get data into Stratum using our different products, Stratum Link, Stratum Analyst Hub, feeding data in, using Excel, some other things that you can do. Getting data out, today we'll be concentrating on Viewer, the web client, and how to use the drill down features within views. So today we'll be talking about drilling down, drilling in views, clicking on a specific member, or you can, and that should be or actually, sorry about that, or column header. So you can, down below, you can see a list of my customers. I can drill on that, or I can drill on customer sold to and drill on all my sold tos down to the next level, which in this case would be product class based on my navigational area there. So this is the navigation area that's highlighted in red. And to drill down on a given sold to, in this case, I can, like I said, pick and choose a given sold to, or I can click on all of them by clicking on the header. And we're going to take a look at that by using the demo to use some examples here. I can also use my View Explorer to do drill downs as well. I can drag and drop things from my View Explorer as well. Probably not as convenient as using the navigational area. So that's, I would think, a little bit more secondary to using either just the natural drill down capability or the navigational area. If we were to look at this in action, in a demo here, I'm running a view called comparative sales. So here's my view, here's my navigational area, and here's where we can see, the drill down path of my dimensions. So I can see, I'm starting at company. It's highlighted in blue there because it's my current level and it's currently visible on the data grid. I can drill in on the company number here, number 100, and that drills me down to the next level, in this case to division. So here I can see my divisions. Now check out the navigational area. It will keep track of your drill down. It will keep track of what you clicked on. And in this case, we're just looking at division all. If I wanted to click in on the food service division, the navigational area will then say division F for food service and product brand all, and so on and so forth. So as I continue to drill down and click on specific members, it will keep track of my drill down pattern and what I've selected behind me. Basically, what I'm creating just a big long filter. And so here's all the reps that meet that filter for these sales columns, right? So if I wanted to go back, I can do one of two things. I can click back on the 100 down on the data grid, or I can click back on the company 100 up here in the navigational area. Either way, it's going to take you back. So it's almost like a toggle. If I click in on company, click back on company, it drills me down and drills me back. Now, as I click in on that header, Well, for company, it really doesn't make a difference because there's only one entity there. But what happens if I drill in on the header for division? It's going to drill on both of my divisions at this point. So in this case, it creates a nice looking subtotal report for my food service and my grocery business. And I can see the product mix between the two divisions and how the sales is going for this year, last year, month to date, et cetera. So again, you can drill on a specific entity, or you can drill in on the entire hierarchy if you want to. Now, again, care must be taken here. You don't want to be doing this on sold to and SKU level. That's probably not a great idea. It might run for a very long time. So, these are things that you want to do for high to intermediate levels, keeping things fairly simple. If I wanted to add in product to the mix, yeah, I could do something like that where I can say, even though product is a lot, I'm going to have a lot of entities. But given the fact that I'm not really mixing that in with, ship to or any other higher invoice, God forbid, you don't want to introduce those dimensions into the mix when you drill on the header. Okay, so clicking in on a specific entity, is going to help, along the way, actually. So as I, click in on certain, and you can drag and drop things around here. As you notice, I can dictate what my order is going to be because I can grab these dimensions and drag and drop them. Notice how I'm changing my order here. Now I'm looking at sold to. If I drag and drop a sales rep, now I'm looking at sales rep. So I'm just dragging that stuff, these dimensions on top of my division F there. And it's just dumping it right to the right and showing me all my products for food service. If I want to see all the reps for food service, I could do that. If I want to see my sold tos for food service, I can do that. So I can play around with this navigational area. I can order these things around. If I want region after product or region after salesperson, notice how I'm grabbing the region right there where it says region. I'm dumping it right on top of the text, and it falls right to the right, assuming that that's the next division. That's the next dimension I want to go to after salesperson. If I want to go to region after sold to, I will drag and drop this on top of sold to, and it then will fall to the right of sold to, and we'll drill down. Okay, so that probably is the best drill down. It probably would make sense to have that over here so that I can aggregate it based on two entities, and then I can do a nifty little drill down on the header of the region dimension, and it creates a pretty nice looking report for my Eastern and Western bound customers. Getting rid of things, there's a little X here. If I don't care to have brand in the mix, I can click on that and it will get rid of the brand level there in my view. Don't worry, you can bring it back, and you can click on the plus sign to bring that back along with any other dimension that you want to bring into the mix as well. So if you don't see something that you have, a level that you want within your view, as long as you're permitted to see it, you can go and grab it. And for instance, if I want ship to in the mix, now I can drill to my ship tos for Sumter, or drilling in on customer sold to the ship to level. I can get an even cleaner look at my business for these different customers for my different regions there. So what does this represent? Company 100, food service, region 330. It's only Eastern customers at this point. All of the customers for East and all the ship tos. Pretty nice looking report. I can dump that down to Excel, clicking on the Excel button, boom, it takes it down to the Excel right there, and I can open that up and take it with me and show my Eastern customer Sumter if I go on a trip or to go visit the account. I've got something in my hip pocket here that shows me how they're performing. Okay, so the navigational area is huge, right? It's a big help. This actually came out in the late 6.x version. So you should have it in your product. If you don't, talk to us. We can get you upgraded. I don't think anybody's running that old of a version, but If you are, if you don't see this navigational area, certainly give us a shout. One thing that you can do is you can hide the navigational area. And gosh, I thought it was in the display options. Let's see, I don't see it here per se, but I think there is a way to turn that off. I don't recommend turning that off, and always just having that available. Now, the View Explorer, here you have, clicking on that folder icon up there will open up your View Explorer, and that will show you the dimensions in this type of format. So if the same rules apply, I can still drag and drop things around here. If I want to change ordering of my drill downs, I can do that and then do my drill down, and obviously it will adhere to that order change. Notice the navigational area jives with the change I made over here in the View Explorer. So it's a bit redundant. Yep. I mean, it's okay. Whatever you feel comfortable with. And I can add more dimensions in my View Explorer here by clicking on my row folder, selecting edit, and I basically can select more levels this way as well. If I want to bring in country or zip code or anything else I might want to drill to. It's the same thing as if I were to add this level here by clicking on the plus sign. Same thing. The menu's a little different, yes. Same concept. What's nice about this menu in the View Explorer is that I can search for levels that have a keyword in it, as opposed to if I use this this option to add in hierarchies, I have to search for it manually. I don't get that search option. So it's a little nicer over here in the View Explorer, but I think this is way more convenient. Obviously, you don't have to go into the View Explorer menu and open up a whole new menu, that type of thing. So, but the View Explorer, if you haven't used it, again, it's a nice tool. I like to use it if you have multiple things to do, or if you want to hide certain things. Maybe if I want to hide these columns down here, or get rid of the first two columns or three, I can very quickly highlight certain things and then click on that hide button there, and it will then hide those measures. So View Explorer, we'll do another class on that, but there's a whole other class that can be had here, just looking at the View Explorer there. So, all right. Gosh, I went off grid a little bit, but that's basically drilling down in the views. As you can see, the navigational area, it's a breadcrumb model where you can you'll be able to see where you've been in the past by dropping breadcrumbs. Get it? Nevertheless, it's the same concept here. You can manipulate it. We saw that we can change things around. We can add. We can delete. And we think it's more efficient in showing your drill down position. So definitely want to use your navigational area. Another cool thing is being able to drill to another view. So, if you have this concept of maybe drilling from a time range view to a view that's time or that shows time as a dimension, you can set that up as well. So drill to view is available, and you can drill from one view to another view as well. Filtering. So let's jump to filtering. Filtering is obviously a pretty key part of the product. So we want to make sure that you understand how to do that. We can see here on a right-click menu, we can see that I can right-click on division or company, and I can select filter edit, and that's how we could go in and start selecting things. So let's take a look at that. We can then run our view. We can go to sold to level, and maybe there's a sold to for my company that I'm looking for. So I've got 27 rows, and I know that's not a lot, but in your company, it's probably more like 1,000 or 10,000. Or if you do this by product, it could be upwardly into the hundreds of thousands, depending on your business. So how do I filter? How do I find a customer? How am I going to search for things when I'm analyzing my data. So for instance, if you were to analyze your business and you're at a sold to level and you're like, gosh, I'd really like to see how such and such is doing. Well, let's go ahead and try a right click on that sold to level and we'll select filter edit. And this will bring up a menu where I can select or search for a given account. In this case, if I wanted to scroll down, I can select one, or if I wanted to search for anything that had the word new in it, I can type in new and it will search by the long description. I can also search by any of the attributes. So if I wanted to see all of my customers in a certain province or state, I can select that, or I can select a postal code or a sales rep. Now it's up to you, but we'll keep it simple here. We'll select it on long description, anything that has the word new in it, and it comes up with one entity called New York Foods, right? If I were to change that and wipe that out and put in good foods or just the word good, no, we got a straggler here. Type in good, click on that. We got two entities. Well, I can then highlight both of these and click OK, and I've just completed a filter. I've just filtered on good foods. Maybe that's an account I've been highlighting for a promotion. I can see they've got some good growth going, and then now I can drill on both accounts to see that Eleanor is the sales rep, to see that they're in the food service division, to see that they're in the Eastern region, and so on and so forth. Back here, if I drill back, I can see also that when I applied the filter, I get a icon here telling me that if I hover over that filter icon, showing me that I do indeed have a filter for good foods of both Eastern and Western account. The navigational area is showing that there is a filter going on. And then finally, we can see a big red filter up here in my filter, in my icon menu. What does that do? Well, if I click on it, it takes me into my filter manager. And here I can manage filters for all the filters in my view. So I might have more than one filter going on. And here in this particular menu, I can manage all of the filters without having to, identify or find them within the view. So what is this? So as you can see, there's three tabs. There's filters on levels, filters on the measures or the data, or an axes filter, which is more advanced. But you can do some pretty cool things with the axes filter as well. If I were to filter on a level here, I can see that there's the filter that we applied for good foods. If I want to exclude those accounts, I can do that very easily. So now it's excluding good foods and showing me every other account that's not good foods. So I love that. That's a new feature. Gosh, I think that came out either in 7.1 or 7.2. So if you don't have that and you want it, upgrade. It's that simple. If you go into your back to the filter manager, if I wanted to then toggle that back to include, then I can bring them back in as just good foods. So the filter manager, as you can see, is pretty cool. I can manage the filter even further here. If I want to click in on the filter icon, I'm back to this. So if I want to include in Harrington's in my filter, I can do that from this menu here. I click OK, and now Harrington's is part of the filter as well. So the filter manager allows me to manage these. If I want to get rid of the filter completely, I can click on the X and click OK. And the filter has been cleared. And now I'm back to all accounts. So that's nice. You got that to manage your filters as you apply them. You might forget about where you've applied them based on, the view might have a lot of columns in it. So let's talk about filtering on one of the data columns. For instance, year-to-date sales. If I right-click on that particular column header, I can filter edit on that. What happens when I do that? Well, I get a different menu. What is this all about? Well, I'm filtering on a data item instead of a hierarchy or a dimension. So it's asking me to select an operator. How do I want to filter my year-to-date sales? Do I want to see it greater than a certain amount or less than a certain amount? Do I want to do a top count or a bottom count? Or some of the other advanced features down here on the bottom? If I were to say, well, let's say I want to see sales over a certain amount, like 30, we'll say 25 mil, who are some of my bigger customers. I click OK, and I can see that Wilder Foods, Eastern Western, and Harrington's Eastern are my top 3 accounts based on year-to-date sales. So notice that again, I get the view filter icon. It shows me that that operator is greater than 250 mil. Or I should say 25 mil. Gosh, looks like 250 mil there. So, and I can come back in here and I could come to my data tab and I see that it's here too, right? Because that's what the filter manager does. It allows me to manage all filters within my view. If I wanted to change that here, I could do that as well. Maybe I want to bring that number down to 10 million. I can change that here, click OK. And obviously it's going to bring back more customers that fit that criteria. So filtering on levels, searching for things within a level, filtering on measures, right? You can do that too. What happens if I change that filter on my measure to do something different? Instead of using greater than or equal to or less than, what happens if I do a top count of maybe 5? And click OK. Now it's showing me my top 5 customers for year-to-date sales. So it just calculates that and then plops them here in my customer sold to list. One cool thing you can do here in the View Explorer, if I bring that open, I can come to my customer sold to level and I can go to a properties menu here and I can turn on all others. And that'll allow me to see all others when you're doing these top counts. So now I can see the all other break. And then, it obviously gives you some sort of relativity to the numbers that you're looking at there. Some more, basically more context, right? So I just did that at the sold to level. If I were to drill this to product for Wilder Foods, so see what I'm doing? I'm gonna drag and drop product now from my navigational area, and I'm gonna bring it down into the data grid, and I'm gonna drop it on top of Wilder Foods. I just did a drill down of product into Wilder Foods. So you can drag and drop things around here. So now I'm looking at my top 5. Remember, my filter is applied here, and I can see that these are my top 5 products for Wilder Foods. Okay, so that's going to allow you to do, if I click on Good Foods, then I can see that they're different products. Good Foods sells different products than Wilder Foods does. And these are those top 5 products, right? So that applies every time I drill down. It's going to apply to that low level. I could also make this recursive if I wanted to keep that as I drill down. So if I drill on the header now, it'll then retain my top 5 customers and show my top 5 products for my top 5 customers. See that? So that's nice. And that's what recursive does as well. So there's some different things that you can do. Obviously, some different filtering criteria that you can play around with. But as you can see, filtering is a pretty big part of the product. As a matter of fact, let me clear out this filter here. We'll come back to Soul 2. I can right click on that filter and just select filter and clear, and it'll clear everything out. One other really simple way to filter, for instance, maybe I want to filter on an account like Wilder Foods. If I drag and drop Wilder Foods 150, 100 into my view filter, it's now filtering all my data on Wilder Foods. So now as I drill down, this is all Wilder Foods data. If I go to ship to, I should see Wilder Foods, ship tos. Indeed, I do. Because Wilder Foods sold to is up here in my view filter. If I change that, if I click in on that to Alberta Foods, then it's going to add in Alberta Foods with Wilder Foods because I didn't deselect them. And now it's showing me just Alberta Foods. There's only one Alberta Foods, obviously. So that's the view filter. If you ever want to filter the entire view on a single entity or on multiple entities, you can have the dimension level up here with that filter applied. And yeah, you can filter on multiple or single entity and just have the entire view show what it's filtering on for this given account, for in this case Alberta Foods. So this is all Alberta food data.